McCarthy Auto Group is one of the largest auto groups in Kansas City, let alone the Midwest. It operates a total of 10 dealerships throughout the region. Whether you're looking for a quality used car in Blue Springs, Missouri, or a new car dealer in Overland Park, Kansas, McCarthy helps you cross each T and dot each I. And our commitment goes beyond the dealership. We continue to impact the lives of young student athletes in our area to propel them into their futures. And we are proud to partner with PrepsKC and present the McCarthy Elite team.
Are you elite? When the game is on the line, you make that big tackle, break the long run, throw that block, make that kick. Are you the best of the best in KC? Well, starting this season, a new standard will be set. The most exclusive postseason honor in Kansas City high school football. The PrepsKC McCarthy Elite team. Only 28 players will earn this distinction, from quarterback to kicker, defensive lineman to returner. It's not about the stars next to your name. It's about what you do on the field. Will you become part of the elite? The PrepsKC McCarthy Elite team.
They are the sponsor of the PrepsKC McCarthy Elite team. It is one team, no second team, no honorable mention, 28 players, the best players in the Metro. It's not about the stars next to your name or how many offers you have. It's about what you do on Friday night. It's going to be fantastic as we go through. And each week we kind of highlight a position group. We started with quarterbacks a couple weeks ago. We talked to Cole Young. Last week we did defensive lineman with Ryan Walls. Andy Myers is going to join us now. We're going to talk running backs. And it's a year of the running back, I think. I don't know how else to say it. But, just looking, and we'll start on the Kansas side a little bit. If you just want to look at rushing totals with guys who are out there to good starts, Reggie Reese from Mill Valley's averaging 235 yards a game, Andy. And it's kind of different for Mill Valley. They haven't necessarily been a one back kind of team. They usually have a couple backs when the quarterback runs the ball and they spread it around and they're a little balanced. They're really run heavy this year, and Reese has been fantastic. He had good yardage last week against a tough Lee Summit North team. That says a lot about him right there and what he can do and what that group can do.
Yeah, that had not been an easy prospect, and that has not been an easy team to move the ball on. So those are really eye-popping numbers when you can, you look up and it's like, okay, well, maybe there was a team that's going to finish 2-8 that they did that against, or, you're going to have your 4 touchdown, 300-yard games against, maybe average competition. But when you have a stat line like that's an eye opener. That turns a lot of heads and puts you on a lot of radars if you weren't already, especially Missouri's had the benefit of having the stats even out a little bit already with 3 games, but those 2 games, all of a sudden you've got a couple of guys over 230 yards average a game with 4 or 5 touchdowns. That you're going to put yourself in that sort of competition and that throw your hat in the ring from a very early standpoint, especially when it's against marquee competition at that level.
Yeah, and he leads him to the next one. Cal Arndt from Aquinas has been really consistent for them. He's got 426 yards, averaging 230 with 5 touchdowns, and he's 6.9 a carry. He really came back from an injury last year, missed the second half of the season, wasn't on, was on the field, but didn't get to play in that state championship game. He really solidifies that attack that they've got at St. Thomas Aquinas, and they look great. They've got a big game with Blue Valley this week, and how he goes and how that offense goes is going to have a lot to do with that game.
We're used to seeing, the great offense and especially great running backs. I mean, one of my favorite games I think that I've ever covered for PrepsKC was when Tank Young, I think, had like 50 carries, and they were just like, all right, hey, here's the ball against Miege. And when they were both just outstanding teams, and I think both won state championships that year in different classes. But especially when you know what's going to happen, you're going to hand the ball off to them. And the offensive line is just able to really dictate and dominate the style of play and be able to still not do anything about it when you can have that sort of physicality like they have. And especially when you have somebody like Cal doing what he's doing right now, it just carries on the great tradition that entire program has, especially up front in the run game.
A couple more guys on the Kansas side, then we move over to Missouri. John Whitner from Shawnee Mission Northwest. He's the ground and pound. He's only averaging 5.3 yards a carry. That gets you in the Hall of Fame in the NFL. And he's got, right at 299, 4 touchdowns for them. They're 1-1. And then there's Cameron Fields from Washington, 16 carries, 250 yards, 4 touchdowns. And he's also returned a couple as well. He's averaging 15.6 yards a carry, off to a great start. Those are guys that you got to keep an eye on to see how they go through the season. It's a different type of back. Those are two, one's a big hitter and one's a grinder. So those are guys to keep an eye on for that elite team. Only 3 running backs make that list.
And especially, when you the big playability a lot of times ends up being a tiebreaker, right? And it's just like, well, maybe the overall rushes are down, but when the ball is in their hands and they can just literally take one to the house at any point, like that sort of like superstar explosiveness is something that is a real game changer on Friday nights, and could have could have him and some of the other players of that caliber in the discussion for the elite team.
All right, the Missouri side, I guess they just insert a guy who goes for 220 yards and scores touchdowns at Grand Valley these days, Robert Palmer, who I think I need to get some background on him. I haven't talked to Coach Alley about him. I think he may be a move-in from out of state, I think. And he's gotten 3 games, 662 yards, 5 touchdowns, averaging 14.1 yards a carry, much like Ty Williams fashion, and did it against Platte. Now, they played Raytown in week 1, and Raytown has gotten better as the season's gone on. Played Crispin last week and totally outmanned them. But he got big yards against Platte County, and that says a lot about how that team's playing. He's kind of a name that jumps off the page at you right off the bat.
I mean, yeah, like you're just like, well, at least Grand Valley's not going to be putting up those kind of numbers again now that Ty Williams is not here, right? Wrong. And that just is, again, a testament to how good that entire program is up front of being able to, they know their identity, they know the strength, and they are going to, optimize that and make it tough on anybody. Especially Black County's a good defense. That's a tough team to do that against. And when you, similar to, the Lee Summit North situation, when you have those types of efforts, that is, and we're going to cycle back to that likely later in the season as well, right? We're going to see that come back around. But it's that one, especially the first month, getting into the first month of the season here, is probably the big head turner for me in terms of, we got used to seeing a Green Valley running back at the top of all these, statistical charts. Guess what? You're still there.
Gabe Fields from St. Joe Central. He's a Vanderbilt commit, but he's also averaging 8 yards a carry. He hasn't had to carry quite as much, only 109 yards. Then there's Jackson Hicks from Liberty. He's averaging 8.2 yards a carry. He's got 7 touchdowns. And then there's the pair from Blue Springs South. This is they are putting up numbers, 450 yards rushing, school record. Darius Morgan, the junior, 49 carries, 413 yards, 6 touchdowns. Then Kendrick Hawkins, 48 carries, 408 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's a 2-headed monster that's dead even. I mean, they're doing the same things. And Aiden Wilhelm, their quarterback, can run the ball as well too. So those 2 guys, they could very easily have 2 1,500-yard rushers at Blue Springs South this year if it continues. Now they're going to play, their schedule will get tough, and someone will figure out a way to make them force them to throw the ball. But those 2 guys right there, and then those are some guys right there. I encourage everyone to go to our stats page there and check these guys out. And of course, our elite articles that come out every week. We'll talk more about these guys in depth. But the running back right now might be the toughest position to only come up with 3 guys as we get ready to do this.
And especially in that kind of scenario, right? Like I saw Hawkins have some big games last year. I want to say I covered a 3-touchdown game of his. And it's like, oh, well, he's just the man. He's number one. When you don't have to give somebody at the high school level, I don't know, what would it be? 250, like 300 plus carries a year, maybe on some of those where you're just beat up by the end of the year. You know what I mean? And just to throw a couple other names out there, I don't know if you're going to get around to them or not, but we've got, returning all-state running backs with Trayvon Pankey at Oak Park.
Yes.
River Peppers at Fort Osage.
Who's been hurt, who came out last week, had 90 yards after he was hurt. But yeah.
And it's tough to, an injury, you get dinged up, miss a couple of games. That's unfortunately enough to keep you off a list like this at that type of level. You got to stay healthy all year long. That will help Blue Springs South, both of those guys, be able to put up, have great performances for them because they're not being run into the ground, and they're able to split that up. Now, does that hurt both of them because they won't have the eye-popping numbers off in a situation like this? Probably, unless you can do it. Okay, we're going to have a, with our powers combined situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they very easily could put up 3,000 yards between them, if not more.
100%.
I mean,
that could makes them a better team, right? It's
yes.
like individually, maybe you don't get that the accolades as far as making it on such and such, but if they're winning district titles and making deep postseason runs, I think everybody in that entire program would be happy with that development. Yes. But I'm really interested to see how they're dead even right now. How does that dynamic sort of play out as we go through the year. And what a great situation that, Coach Wilmus and everybody there is in, to be able to really, put together a great team and take advantage of so many great athletes and playmakers they've got right now.
No doubt. Well, Andy, it was fun. We'll get you back in the rotation again here as we go through. And this has turned into one of the favorite things we do each week. And a lot of people are enjoying it, just talking guys, and looking forward to this as we go through. The elite team is going to be brutal to put together, but it's going to be fun as well. So we will chat with you again the next hour in your normal segment. Well, thanks a lot for stopping by and talking elite team this week.
Really appreciate it. I was glad to do it.